This is Kris Roberts for MTBS-TV here at CES 2014. I'm with Jeffrey Doyle of GrowShapes in Silicon Valley.
Correct.
Thanks. Welcome to the show. I also noticed you were wearing an MCore shirt. I saw them at SIGGRAPH this year, and they had a tremendous color 3D printing solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you about that, because it's amazing technology. Yes, my name is Jeffrey Doyle. I'm the CEO of GrowShapes. I'm based in Silicon Valley. I am MCore's reseller for the San Francisco Bay Area. I also resell NetFab, which is a very well-known 3D file fixing and more software for the 3D printing industry. This is it. This is a 3D printed in paper turtle, which was actually designed in 6 Senses to make VR, which is a fantastic new application, which you will hear more about, which allows you to create content very, very easily using games controller. But more about the MCore. This is paper laminated, so this started life as a ream of paper, truly. And layer upon layer was laid down, and the model at every layer was cut out, it was glued, and then the next layer put on. That process was repeated. Now, I can do this in color too, so I can make sure, and I've got software that comes with the printer, which will ensure that where it cuts is the right color for the model that's been created. You know, you get an object file with a texture file wrapped around it. You can print it out, and this will come out color. It's in the machine at the moment. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to get it out. So next year, this and more in color.
Well, that was the most spectacular thing I remember about what I saw at CES or at SIGGRAPH, was the models were as if they were texture mapped from a virtual environment, but real in 3 dimensions. And if you looked at the actual process, each layer was sort of like the micro slice that you see as scanning, slice microscope or something was doing.
Yes, like destructive. If you were to reconstruct, or you would deconstruct something and then reconstruct it through slices, it's exactly that.
Right.
It is truly additive manufacturing.
And one of your colleagues had a model of his face that he holds up, and the color accuracy and everything was really phenomenal. So about the other product, NetFab.
NetFab. Yes, very, very familiar with those that are into the 3D printing movement. It's a software that does basically it can ensure that the model that you're printing out is watertight, and you've got success when you press that button, when you send it to the printer, that it's fixed and ready to go. But they do have other products that allows you to create basic primitives and more advanced primitives as you get into the professional version. And it is, in effect, a more simplified CAD content creation piece of software.
So that helps people who want to produce a model make sure that what they come up with in their head, as well as in the computer-aided design space, is actually viable for printing.
Yes, principally it's about making sure that you can print what you want to print, and also it's got some really, really interesting add-on programs which allows you to pack the build platform very, very efficiently, so that, say I've got 10 of these, that would automatically put it in the build platform so that there's no collisions, and you maximize the material that you would use to print out 10 or 12 or how many of these, just so it's more efficient, both with respect to cost, because cost is very, very important, but also with respect to wasting material. You do not want to waste material. The whole point of additive manufacturing is to not waste material. And sometimes it does, so NetFab's products can. But what's really, really amazing about some of the more advanced NetFab products is, it's looking at microstructures. And, when you start looking about having variable microstructures in an object, you can move from something that might be solid this end and spongy this end, all through changing the structure. So it's called selective space structures, and you can change that. It's like a butterfly. A butterfly is not blue. It gives the impression of being blue through structures. Nature uses very few materials. It uses structures. And that's where NetFab in particular is super forward thinking, that I can see a day that we have a single material and we change the structure to give the various colors as well as the various properties that we want in a build.
Well, it's interesting here on the show floor. This year there's been a real mushrooming of different 3D printers and different approaches and materials and technology approaches. But one of the things that's been really fascinating, I think, for Neil and myself, is people have come to us with immersive technology prototypes that they're been putting together on their own that are 3D printed. And the build quality is, it's obviously not injection molded and ready to go from the production side of things, but as far as demonstrating their point and being able to provide a prototype, it's something that's light years ahead of what they would have done if they were using hot glue and materials in home and trying to produce it that way. So it's been really fascinating, and I think the content creation side is if you're not already in 3D design and that space, it's something that could be really challenging as far as understanding the requirements and the considerations and constraints for how to actually get it together. So it sounds like it's a really good solution to help bridge that gap for people who want to produce something.
It does. You're absolutely right. We're the 3D printing industry at the moment, and it's really important to understand. In the recent past, it's been about prototyping. Forget about the high-end aerospace, medical device, etc., where there's a lot of value. It's principally been used to be able to get product to market much quicker. As the costs have come down, that's allowed smaller companies to access the technology to try and test things out. So the next jump will be using the technology as in a personalization way. How do we get to the end product? We're not there yet. There'll be intermediary steps, but the whole point about 3D printing for the mass market is democratization of production, and for that you need to have personalization. People want personalization, they desire it. It allows people to create new products based around personalization. There are challenges. Content creation is a challenge. The cost of printing is a challenge. The boundaries upon which the technology is. So, there's only so much quality that you can print. It will improve, and it is improving. But what we've not necessarily established in the 3D printing world is what is the Moore's law for 3D printing. And someone's going to come out with a paper at some stage and map that. And it'll be interesting when we identify that. And then we can start seeing where this technology could potentially go.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeffrey. It's been awesome talking to you. This is Kris Roberts with MTBS at CES 2014. Thanks for watching.